All right, welcome to the program. I think I fixed my mic problem, so we're about to find out. Mike,
You did.
I fixed my mic problems. Whew. I did it last minute too. You got a new mic? Oh well, I had a backup plan too, just in case. See, I was gonna log in by my phone, but I decided against that. As long as it was a last ditch effort to make sure it worked. So, how are you been, buddy?
Last week was kind of brutal.
Yeah. Just dealing with the holiday.
Dealing with people.
Dealing with people. The holiday was easy.
Yeah. Just have people that weren't doing their job.
Well, I know how that goes.
And at the end of the day, there's an echo. Can you hear that?
There's an echo. Hold on.
You got your phone on still?
Yeah, I'm gonna back out of that real quick. Hold on. See if that's better.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I don't hear the echo, but
okay. I do.
You still do? Well, that one I don't know what that is. I only have the one microphone going now.
I'm gonna look audio.
Let me turn down my monitor speaker. Maybe that's better. Maybe not.
Maybe. No.
Maybe no.
Oh. Echo cancellation.
Interesting. Maybe it's on your end.
Probably.
It doesn't always have to be my microphone problems.
Yeah.
We can share microphone problems, right?
Yeah. It's always something.
It's always something. Oh, that's.
Oh.
Wow. Like a fire alarm. I do hear the feedback.
Yeah, I can hear it too.
That's weird. It's definitely not coming from me. I can tell because, like, my mic meters don't move, but the input meters from my computer are the ones that beep. So, it's definitely not coming from me.
Anyway, I just had last week. I just had a whole rash of people not doing their job.
I hate it when that happens.
Which in my business, whether it's the appraiser, the title, underwriter, closer, any of those people,
right?
If it goes south, it's my fault.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I get a little testy.
Yeah.
And with those people, I'm like, hey, you, because they're like, oh, I'm leaving early today. I got to my kids great graduation.
Like I care.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with some of that. Hold on, let's see. Cancellation. See if that. Maybe. I think it did. No. Anyway.
Wait.
There's more.
I hear the echo.
It's not as bad though.
I don't hear it at all anymore.
There we go. All right. Well, maybe it's only when I talk. But what I'm dealing with it, like I was saying, I was dealing with the same shit that you're dealing with when it comes to people not doing their jobs. And I hate to say that about people because some of the people I have working for me, doing some work for me have generally been pretty good. But I put in for quotes on Monday. I didn't get them yesterday. I haven't gotten them today. They told me they would be out this morning. And now I got clients calling me back saying,
"Hey, you forgot me."
Yeah, where's my quote?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, I mean, my thing is like, I'll tell them like, hey, I had a deal that was supposed to close at 9 on Thursday, which I will say that, like, I always tell agents, like, I don't recommend scheduling a closing on the day before a 3-day weekend,
Right.
or even Monday morning or Friday afternoon. Like those are the things that just, as a general rule, don't do it,
Yeah.
because if something's going to go bad, that's the day it's going to go bad. So
Of course it is.
yeah, so I had a processor who was, we use a third party processing company, so she was not my employee. Whatever you just did, that echo just came back right
I
then.
turned yeah, I
Bang,
turned the echo cancellation off,
boom. As
but
soon as you did, I was like, "Choo."
then
um,
I had to turn off my stereo audio input, and I'm hoping that totally fixed the problem. So we'll see.
maybe. Yeah, I don't hear it. So anyway, we use a third party processing company. They they assigned this girl to my file, and then I come to find out it was about 2 or 3 weeks in, and I find out like 3 days before the closing that this was her first file she's ever worked on. Yeah. So I'm like, why is this going to shit out? And I'm just like, so I mean, and the way I found out was I sent a message to her managers, two bosses, said like, I need you to get involved in this because I'm about to lose my cool. This has to close. And this girl doesn't know what she's doing. She's trying to fix stuff. See, if you don't know what you're doing and then you try to fix something that's messed up, you know what you're
Right.
doing, you can't fix it because you don't know
Well,
how to get from point A to point B. You don't know what point B is supposed to be, so you're just making shit up, and that was what she was doing.
and I have a lot of sympathy for new people who don't know how to do a new job, right? You just got
Right.
there, you're training. I've got plenty of sympathy for
I
you.
do too.
But at the end of the day, you have to own up to the fact that you don't know.
Right.
I
Just
mean,
tell
that's
me.
the key. Just say, I've not done this before. This is my first one. I mean, because I'm sure you would have been like, if you would have been told at the beginning by that girl that, hey, this is my first
I would have said,
file I've ever done, you'd have been like, fuck.
no, I would have said, please hold. And I would have called her boss and said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't, don't do
But
that.
let's
But
just say
yes, no, you're
if
right. And
you're
I
gonna
found
move
out,
forward with them, and you're just like, look, okay, fine. I guess I'm going to have to hold your hand on this one. But at least you knew in the beginning, as
I found
opposed
it
to
right. I found out
finding,
at the end after I'd already drug her boss into it. And then
yeah,
and so, but funny thing was I had a discussion with her boss after, because it was supposed to close at 9. It finally closed around 3 o'clock. Um, and her boss called me and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, la la la." She's obviously has training, still needs to be more trained, and we da da da. And I said, "You guys did her dirty. Like I'm not pissed at her. Like you guys did shitty on her.
yes,
Me too. You did shitty on me because you didn't tell me that this was her first file. They told me that she had been out of the business for a while and got back in the business. Blah blah blah. Fine. Not we're starting with you,
you're
because I would have blown that deal right out of the water. And um, and they know. Like I've take their people and shoot them up, spit them out.
yeah,
So like this is not a world for the weak. And uh I just told her, I go, you guys did her dirty. Like I think that was shitty that you guys put her in on this deal. Now I also think she should have asked for help, and she should have done other stuff, and she should have told me. And but the only time she told me was after I called her boss or emailed her boss and said like, I need you guys to jump in on this deal. And then she's like, well, this is my first file. I'm like, oh,
great.
2 days before closing. Like that explains a lot. And I mean, it got bad. It got really bad. Like she was
Uh,
doing stuff, and then I was like, why did you do that? Oh, I'm just trying to. I don't know, no, no, no. And I was like, stop touching shit. Here's the deal.
Stop touching shit.
Yeah, I told her and her boss, both of them there. She's like, she's here with me. I said, neither one of you. This is on the day of closing, right? Because so
Right.
up until closing, it's your deal. When we're missing the closing time on the closing date, and I take over, get your ass out of it. That's usually how I'm like, stop touching shit. I'm in on the deal. I'm getting the phone. I'm on the phone with the underwriter. I'm on the phone with the title people. I'm on the phone with everybody. The buyer's agent called me 18 times that day. 18 times.
18
That's a whole nother deal. A lesser man would have got lost his shit, but I'm just like looking at my
times.
phone. Like, I'm not going to answer the phone every time you call me. You call me 3 times in a row. I mean, like I literally talking to her on the phone.
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is what I got. Underwriter on a copy of a check, the cashier's check the guy brought to close. He wanted a copy of it. They had to have a copy before they released the docs. I said, I talked to the underwriter. He said, we got to upload a copy of the check to their portal, then call him. He said, me to call him. He'll go in there and he'll sign it off right when I'm on the phone and release the docs. And she said, okay. I go, that's what I'm going to do right now. And so I hung up. I didn't even get his number dialed, his extension. I'm dialing his extension. She texts me any word, like, what? And then calls me right then. And I was like, I'm not,
Haven't even finished dialing the number.
fuck, can't even dial the number. And I'm like,
Like,
and,
no,
and
I've not gotten a word back because I haven't finished the phone call before you called me again.
yes.
I
And it's
interrupted
like,
the phone call.
the good part about it is I've been doing this so long. And like, I used to just lose my shit, right? Way back in the
Oh
day,
yeah.
we would lose my cool. But now it's like, just chill. It's going to happen. We're fine. I'll get it done. So, but the girls at the title company, right? I've known them for a long time, and they're needling me, right? They're like emailing me and shit, like, "Hey,
Right, right.
like, give me shit. She's gonna call you again." Like, apparently, call if you call me enough, that's gonna the underwriter is gonna release the thing, or the
The more
closing department. Like,
the
closing
more
department
times you
gives,
dial, you didn't know that? The
yeah,
more times you dial.
that closing department.
Yeah.
That's really gonna speed them
They
up. They give a shit if you're sitting in the title company.
they probably call into customer service and get on hold. And even after they hear the warning that like, please don't hang up. You will
Right? They hang
lose
up,
your
call
line
back.
in queue. They hang up and call back anyway.
And it's like stuff like that, but it gives realtors a bad name. And then like the other thing that she did was like the buyer. I talked to the
I
buyer.
wish Sandy was here to hear you say that gives
I wish
real
Sandy
estate
was here.
agents a bad
I
name.
was I would
Because I would ask her what else gives real estate agents a
Sandy.
bad name.
Oh my! But I mean, this is not Sandy would not act like this.
No, no,
But
no, I know. But she would definitely know what gives real estate agents a
oh
bad name.
yeah, and it sucks that there's a few. And this lady does quite a bit of volume, and but it's like so like this is like I call the buyer and I go, hey, and I told him like this is on me. Like processors inexperience. I'll get it done. I've been on the phone with the underwriter. I talked to the guy 5 times that day. I'll talk to him. I got to him. There was conditions. I'm on the phone and he's signing off on stuff while I'm on the phone. And, so I get it down to whatever, this check and
Right.
something else. So I said, just hang out. Don't go there. I didn't want him sitting there. I go, don't go there at 12:30 because we moved from 9 to 12:30. I go, don't go there at 12:30. Wait till I call you. When I call you, head up there. He said, all right. So 10 minutes later, one of her phone calls, she calls me and she's like, well, he's on his way up here. And I said, no, he's not. Like I told him to wait. She said, no, I told him to come up there. Why?
Why?
She's like, because you said it was clear to close. I go, yeah, it takes an hour to get docs. If they come over right away, it could take an hour. Well, he's on his way. And I said, well,
I
I
guess
didn't
you're
tell him
gonna
to come there. So then
guess
he
you're
gets
gonna
there
entertain him.
and she calls me and she's like, he's here.
He's here. Like, I don't care.
I do care, but it's like I don't, like, okay, why is he there? I didn't tell him to be there. And so and she's just pacing around the title company, I guess, like going back and forth. Like, this has to happen every time. This has to happen today. This has to happen today. Well, okay, like I understand that. And at the end of the day, it did. But it was like,
Right.
I mean,
I would have
you
told the title lady who told him to come up there. I would have told her like, "Well, since he's there, I guess you're going to have to entertain him.
do something, sing
Yeah,
and dance.
sing, song, dance, don't care, whatever. But
I
you're going to have
just,
to do something."
it's just, I don't understand it. And it's like they think their mind. See, I think it's a mental thing where they think they have to demonstrate to this person that got it done. I got that done, right? So I called him 18
Probably.
times. Like literally, I went through my call log. She called me 18 times that day, and um,
I mean, at the
I
end of the
think
day, they
it's the
really
thing.
don't know. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I
She
didn't
has
mean
no
to.
idea what the process is, right? She doesn't know what the process behind the scenes is, and I think in order for her to save face or whatever, like to say I saved that deal, I called him 18 times, and that I got it done for us,
They
right?
they think activity is accomplishing something.
Right. And it's not even,
It's like,
not only that, but the listing agent was also a friend of mine. So
right.
the listing agent calls me, and I'm like, what the fuck do you want? Right. I'm not in the mood to talk to
This
you
is
right
not
now.
the time.
And she starts laughing, and she's like, oh, I was just talking to the buyer's agent, and she told me she was blowing Mike's phone up. So I figured I would call you and see what the hell was going on. I'm like, yes, I'm glad you guys are having a good time because I'm
Want
just
to
trying to get this
join in
shit
on
done.
the call party. She
Yeah.
felt
She's like, I
left
just want to
out.
call you because she said she was blowing your shit up. And I said, this is accurate. This is accurate. She's like, what does she think's going to happen? I don't know. I
I
don't,
have no idea.
I don't know. Like, like I said, a a lesser loan officer would lose cool and like tell her to shut the fuck up, leave me alone.
Shut the
But
fuck up.
like,
Uh,
what do you want? And she every time is like, this has to happen. No shit. Like, correct. And it did. And we got the thing, and they got the deal. They got the keys. And you know, wasn't at 9, it was at 3:30. But so it's like that shit all last week and the week before.
right.
So it was like both weeks I had fighting fighting deals, just trying to get stuff done. And I have people that are supposed to be helping me, people that we pay, they get a fee, a processing fee.
Right.
Um, and it's like, you're not helping me. Like, why am I spending a week of my life? Why am I on the phone at 7 a.m.
Ooh.
and trying to get, like, because luckily the people are like Monday, I had a closing at 9:30 and a closing at 10. And at 7 a.m., I didn't have docs on either one. And one of them wasn't even clear to close yet. So
Boy.
that's supposed to be their job. So here I am at 7 a.m. blowing up, like, let's go, and got that shit done. They both closed on time on Monday. And then, but and then the girl that was supposed to be doing it pipes up at 10 till 9. Docs are out, like, puts a comment in the thing. I'm like, really? You're welcome. Why am I paying you? So that's when I get a little irritated with people not
Oh
doing their
yeah.
shit. And it's like, first of all, don't try to act like you did it. And second of all, like, you're paying you. Like, you're supposed to be here to make my life easier.
Right.
So the outcome of the whole thing was that I ended up having to I ended up having to hire, bring on a loan partner, like a loan assistant, loan officer assistant, to basically get between me and the processing company. Because someone, I tell someone, the way I manage people like that is, you know what you're doing, do it.
Right.
And I usually tell them, like, this is the closing date on the contract. Most of the time I try to push that up if we can. Like, I try to get it, because I try to get, like, the one I closed on Monday, one of them was a purchase. They had the contract for the 7th, I think, of July. And I was like, if we close this on the 30th instead of the 7th, it's going to save that borrower. It was like $1,800 in prepaid interest for the month. So it was almost $2,000 less that he had to bring to closing. So I was like,
Right.
we just push this up this day. The sellers were already gone. They'd already moved out. Like, if we push this up to the 30th, and even the agent's like, really? I don't know about that. So, um, so I try to do that. So I tell the processor, okay, we're going to close on this date. I want it cleared. I want everything done by a week ahead of time. I want this. This is our date. Our target date for clear to close is a week before the actual closing. That way I can go, hey,
Right.
I call the agent up, I call the buyer up. We're good to go. We're a week away. It doesn't always hit that, but if I'm 3 days early, that's better than
Well, yeah.
3 hours after the closing.
Yeah.
And um, so like, that's what kind of that's what kind of ship I like to run. But I like to tell people, like, you know what you're doing. I'm not going to get up in there and go, did you do this today? Because if why would I have to spend my time
Yeah.
to say, hey, Eric, did you do this today? And this and this and this and this? Because you're supposed to do that shit. Why should I call you and ask you?
Yeah. I
If
mean,
I'm going to pay you, I'm going to do it and take the fee. Like, they charge
like
a
if I
thousand
have to take the
dollars.
time to ask you about it, then I it would have taken me 3 more minutes to do it, type of thing.
Right, right.
And for
I mean, I already
some,
could. I just almost could have done it because I could log most of the time. I can log in or do whatever. And so, like the standing rule I have with most of my processors or loan officer assistant or whatever is like, I don't want all the emails. I don't want to know when you ordered insurance. I don't want to know any of that. I don't care.
yeah, none of
You
the
call
better.
me if there's a problem, and if you request from the buyer or one of the agents or something, if you request something from them twice and they don't give it to you after the second time, then reach out to me and I'll pick up the phone and say, Eric, what are you doing? Get the shit over to her right now. We're not gonna close on time. You want to close? And then like I mean that's
Yeah,
how we do it. And then so and 9 out of 10 times they'll say, "Oh, sorry," then they pick up and do it. So and I'll get on their ass and say, "When she asks you for something, I need you to get it to her right away because we have a contract date and we don't want to be the ones that are delaying that. If it gets delayed, it gets delayed, but we don't want to be on the
yeah,
ones
and
doing
be
that.
responsible for that.
If
Yeah,
it happens, it happens, but it's I don't want it to be. It's not gonna be my fault.
yeah,
So uh, that's just how I feel. To manage people, I think if you're going to do the job and you knew that, you know what the job is, then I shouldn't have to tell you what to do or
right.
ask you over and over again, or call your boss and say, "Hey, could you go get this chick to do this shit because she's not doing it?"
Yeah, no,
And
and it,
uh,
it makes perfect sense.
and then they're like, "God, he's an asshole." And I said the one, so I had the one girl, the new girl, which I didn't know. And so what happened was funny was the week before, she called me up and she said, and this was a special loan, like it's a bank statement loan, so
Right.
we you don't do regular income. You go off of 12 months bank statements, and that's how they calculate they're easy to do, but if it's a
Yeah.
business, the guy's got a business, we take his business bank statements, scan all 12
Right. Right.
months
Yeah.
of them, and the lender comes back and goes, okay, we say he makes X number of dollars a month. That's what you can use. So we had a weird deal with this one. He had two different accounts, a la 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 la, whatever. It wasn't that big a deal. So she calls me and she's like, "Well, I got this thing and that and this and this." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Stop. What do you want? I don't want to hear all that shit. Like, tell me what you want me to fix."
Right.
And like, I'm sure that's great, great story. I don't want to hear all that shit. Like, I don't doesn't
It
means nothing to me.
it's like one of
Like,
those word problems when you were in
blah
fourth
blah 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 blah
grade
blah
where
blah
they
blah
give
blah
you
blah blah
so
blah.
much
Blah.
extra information, and
So
it's
I
like,
go, stop, stop, stop. Tell me what you want. Like, I don't want to hear that. And so that made her sad. And so
that made
then,
her sad.
so then she would talk to me. Like, she didn't talk to me. She wouldn't call me anymore. So she was emailing me, and she was emailing, like, if you go through our loan origination software, that's where you're supposed to put file notes or whatever, and it notifies
Right. Right.
everybody. So she's emailing me. She's sending messages through there, which is a pain in the ass. Like, and so finally, and it was going to her and her boss, and so I guess they probably had a talk where they were like, "He's mean.
He's
He made me
mean.
sad." So, so I just like, look, replied back to everybody. It was like, "This is not gonna. This can't be done over email. You're gonna have to call me." So she called me, and she's like being real snippy, and I was like, "Look, why are you pissed off?" And she's like, "I'm not." I go, "Look, I've been married for 40 years. I have two daughters and a granddaughter.
I know
Just
which
fucking
chick you're
tell me,
pissed off.
like, just whatever." I don't. And she's like, "I'm just trying to get to the point." That's what she said, and I was like, "Oh fuck, for God's sake!" So I was just like, I didn't even. I was like, if you're going to be in this business, I, I like all I said was just tell me what you want. I don't want to sit and listen to all this shit. Plus, I don't have the attention span. Like, I already forgot what you said at the beginning. So, so I just say it. And so I told her, I go, look, if you're going to be in this business, you have to have a thicker skin. Like, this is if that got you butt hurt for a week, like you're not going to last. You need to go somewhere else because it's not going to work for you. Because
Ugh.
I'm a very nice loan officer. Now, I'm easy to work with, but when you fuck up, I'm going to tell you. So I was just, I'm not a big sugarcoater on
Man,
any level.
so well, you remember last week I was saying how I had gotten somebody working for me, and yeah, she quit.
ran her off. It's like this guy.
No, she was doing great. She even liked the work, but it was just something she decided she could not fit in her life. Like, because she's got kids at home and she's homeschooling and she's, kind of a stay-at-home mom. It's like, so you want work that you can do from home that's pretty easy. You just gotta it's like,
Right.
this is
Like
it, lady. I can't make it any easier.
doing Amtrak quotes. Like I bet that's
Yeah.
probably not
No, it
something you could probably do after the kids went to bed.
well, I gotta be honest. As a parent, I find her bed schedule with her kids to be very strange. I mean, they're both under two, I think. Maybe one of them was three, but you know, they have like a noontime nap where they sleep for about 2 hours. Then she ends up putting them back to bed at like 6:30 or 7. I mean, that's
Oh man.
way earlier than I ever put my kids to bed, right?
Yeah.
And but she also, I guess she was helping another friend with some project, and she's got to keep the house clean and make dinner. I mean, I get all the things, man. We all got all the things,
Right.
we all got to get done, but we all figure out a way to
It's
to
just a
fit
matter
our
of what
working
you
and with that,
want. You think, and I'm going through a thing right now. Like I just listened to a book called Grit,
Yeah,
uh, and it's talking about that stuff. Because I'm like all my life have been terrible about like follow through. So
yeah.
uh, I hit shiny object syndrome,
Oh yeah, me too.
and I've done it. And the last one I did just ended up costing me a whole lot
The-
of money. So, but it's like I'm trying to renew myself at 60
yeah, I
years old.
mean,
But
part of doing this live stream is to kind of scratch the shiny object itch.
right,
Because it's like it gives me something to do in a productive manner in a setting that I want. It's like I want to do the podcast stuff, right? But I've got to make a living, so
right,
and as we can grow the show and get more guests on, I think it'll be worthwhile, and we're getting to a point where I can start, now that I've finally fixed my fucking mic.
yeah, it only took a month.
We can finally start thinking about adding more guests and stuff to the program. But
About to have a video of me. If that was me, I'd have a video of me like smashing that shit with a hammer.
but but yeah, it's like I don't, and, and so anyways, I ended up being, because she was doing a lot of lead calls for me and stuff. Now I got this giant, I am completely overloaded and backlogged with work with leads, because I thought I had somebody who was going to be helping me, and now she's not. And it's like,
Right.
like, god damn. And so, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, she was pretty good at it while she was doing it. She just got overwhelmed, and okay, fine, I guess. Let me know if you change your mind in the future, and we'll see how I feel about it then. You know,
Yeah.
so but yeah, I get
I'm
your
still saying you friggin' should get a VA.
do what
You
oh
should get a
virtual.
virtual assistant from friggin' Philippines or something. Like
I'm
you can
working
pay them
towards
like
that.
$7 an hour.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely working towards that, but I don't even have. I mean, I got like only 2 or 3 hours worth of work, as far as calls a day.
Right.
I mean, it's not that much. It's just when I have to do that combined with requesting the quotes and getting the emails put together to send out the quotes. I got my boy over here. He's he's working on automation setups within Google. We jumped onto the AI, and AI has basically told us this is what you need to do to automate your processes, from taking the information and moving it
I'm
into
doing a process like that right
your
now with
suite.
ClickFunnels with the
Yeah.
a guy with the stuff in there. He's got a ridiculous like automation system. Like it's
Oh yeah, no, I've
and he's
seen.
built it out, and it's just like I bought his system, but because I couldn't do that. Like
Oh yeah, you got to hire
it would
somebody.
take me 10 years, and
I
like it's massive. Like it's unreal, and it goes
no,
for
it's
a
not
year.
Automation Booster, is it?
No,
No,
and
'cause
it's
I had
like
one called Automation Booster, basically the
he,
same thing.
he uses ClickFunnels, and he uses
ClickFunnels, yeah.
but they has another CRM thing that tie together. But like it basically keeps track of people for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, on different levels. And if this, yes, I mean, it's like,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
it's wild, which is good. I mean, because I'm glad that I found someone who can do that because I cannot.
yeah.
I would buy the shit and then be like,
I'm gonna eventually, I'm gonna keep, work out this system to get me going. Because the idea
right,
is that I need to spend my time talking to people and making phone calls, not copying and pasting text to get emails printed. You know what I mean?
right.
It's like all of the little shit. And so, and then I've got another thing up my sleeve to possibly get some VA type help before I can resort to the Filipino ladies.
I had one that I use for setting appointments. Um, but like you, 2 hours of work, you couldn't do that for her. This girl used to, she would call 95. She make 95 phone calls a day. Like unreal,
Yeah, I
unreal.
I can probably get to that number at some point, but I'm not there yet.
She was like
You know.
all every day. I had her doing 4 days a week, and I had a list of 1,500
Yeah,
names,
see,
I
I've
think.
I've only got a list of like 80 names.
And
So I mean,
then
and at
I
most you're going
had
to call any of them 3 times a day, at most.
I bought this software called Phone Burner,
Hmm.
and like it's just to blow it out.
It's
But
like if I could get my phone system to dial the numbers, right? To dial the numbers and only connect me if somebody picks up the phone.
that would be nice.
That would be so nice.
Well, see, like I've got this other CRM that I use. I hate it. The company sucks, but because I think they got bought out. But it's called Bonzo, and they so I have one. I can do their. It has a auto dialer, not auto dialer, but like a speed dialer thing like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I go into, I pull in the list of who I want to call, and then I have automatic two automation things I can do. So I can set a voicemail, and I can make a voicemail, or I can shoot a text. So and it loads the list in, and I hit go, and when it dials that number, and if I get their number, their voicemail, I
You just
I send a text, boom,
yeah, yeah.
and then it hangs up and goes to the next one, and just automatically it just sits there and goes and blasts through the whole thing, and then it also has the one ring voicemail thing where it'll call and ring one time and drop a voicemail.
Yeah, yeah. My old system that I was using before, and I had to quit using it because it was too expensive, and it wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't paying off. Basically,
Yeah,
the ROI was not there. It was like, but it had awesome features, right? And you could set up all sorts of automations all the way through, scheduled, planned email sends and the whole 9 yards, right? And you build a power dialer, so it'd stack your phone calls, dial right through them, send silent voice messages, send text
yeah.
messages, I mean, the whole 9 yards. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was paying, close to $200 a month for it. And I'm like,
Yeah, this one I got is 300 bucks. I think I'm paying 300 bucks a month, and or two. No, I think I'm paying 240 or 250. But it has all that capability. But the problem is I don't even use it that much. But the thing is
that was mine.
it goes. It's connected to my loan origination software.
Yeah.
So the reason that I have it still is because of that. And I know I could probably get some Zapier and do it, but it's so when I take a loan application, it goes through and it takes so like the ones I just closes those loans when they get pushed to close, it populates all of the info, their interest rate, the closing date,
Yeah, yeah.
all the stuff. So then I've got an automation set in there where it sends them a happy birthday text,
Yep.
it sends them a loan anniversary text like happy loan anniversary. I don't so there's
Sure.
stuff in there like that, and that's the reason I've kept it because I have people like reach out and I go, oh, I got these things. But I'm looking to switch away from it just because the company I think got bought out and uh they suck now.
Well, my host agency provides me with a CRM, right? And it has some. real basic rudimentary automations built into it, right? Like it's got scheduled emails in it, and that's basically it. Um, but it's free. It's all part of my, I guess it's not free. It's part of what I pay for by
Yeah.
being part of their agency. So using this other CRM, I had to take time to transfer the information from one to the other just to start up my automations. So that was a time suck that I didn't need. Then as I started looking through things and as stuff has advanced with AI and everything else going on in the Google workspace, um, that I can get a lot of that automation work for free. It's already there and available to me through Google. I just
Nice.
have to know how to implement it, right?
Well, there you go.
And it's, and quite honestly, it is involving like JavaScript and coding. I don't know shit about that, but Gemini will write that for me, right? I don't need to write it. I just need to tell Gemini what I need to do. It's provided me JavaScript for all of these different changes I needed to make. Um, and settings I need to set within, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Forms, like all of the components that I need for the automation are basically already right there in my Google Workspace. I just don't know how to get them all to work
And
together.
how to get them out.
Yeah. And so, but Gemini does. And so I've been sitting there looking over YouTube videos and all kinds of other shit. Like, how do I do this? How can I do this? And I get some answers that are close, but not the full answer. And, this, that, and the other. And, eventually I was like, you know what? I bet I can just ask Gemini. And sure as shit, man, Gemini spit me out like a 4-phase multi-step process to what do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, and build it all out. And once it's all done, your system should work. You have to do some testing and see if you have anything screwing up, but at the end of the day, it's done. So I got to work on it, started building some of the spreadsheets that they needed, the form that they needed, a couple of uh, templates in Google Docs for it. And then I handed the rest of it off to my son, and he's been over there copy and pasting scripts and doing all the different stuff
Nice.
to get it to work. And so hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll be able to start actually utilizing it and taking advantage of it because it's going to save me a shit ton of time.
Well, it's worth it if you can get it. It's worth the
Oh, yeah.
time if you can get it um, implemented.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because if you add up, something takes you 3 or 4 hours to do now, but if it takes you 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes down the road, it'll that time when you'll make that time up because you'll be doing something else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's
It compounds, and you'll get if you get two or three of those going,
yeah. I
pretty
mean,
soon
because
you won't need. You'll just be like, shh, click.
like because what I've been working on doing is batching. Because I can get hell. The other day I had 9 quotes I needed to do in one day, right? And to put the email together to submit for the quote, shit, that takes an hour almost in and of itself. Just getting all the information from each client, putting it into the format, laying it all into an email, and then you send it. It's like, okay, well, I'll send these at the end of the day. That way, the next morning when I wake up, they'll start sending me the quotes, and then I can email them out to my clients. Well, if I can get an automated system to build that quote request email for me, and I don't have to sit down and do it, I mean, that's damn near
Right,
an hour saved,
right.
especially on the bigger days and you have 8 or 9 quotes that you got to get requested. It's one thing if I have to request two, like, okay, big deal. I can handle that. No big deal. But it's when you get a bunch of them built up and it's like, I need to find a way to do this much quicker. And since it's already built into my Google Workspace, it's like I'm not really sure that, I mean, why should I pay?
No,
Like,
yeah. If well, unless it's a specialized thing, like the only thing for me is you want to have. I always want to make sure um, I have control of the data when it's all
oh
said
yeah.
and done. That's my thing. I just want to make sure I've got it, and um, I'm in control of my data because that's all I've got.
Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly.
So I keep everything. Like I found a stack a while back of closed loans I had from like 2005. Like literal printed out spreadsheets, just a whole giant stack of all these old names,
Oh man.
addresses, everything. Like I don't throw anything away.
Oh,
You get
I
on
don't
my mailing list, like bro, you're on my list.
I don't keep paper, but yeah, dude, I've got hard drives from 10 computers ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
just
I do too. I
keep
got
it,
two or three of those too. But
I'm like
actually,
just
I have a couple because I want to destroy them because they do
well,
have a lot of that stuff on there.
yeah, I basically just didn't want them to go to some recycler and have no idea what happened to the information on them. I'm not even sure there's any information worth keeping or even that I could access anymore at this point in
Right.
time, but I damn sure don't want to just let it float around out there in the ether
Yeah,
space.
somebody else could probably access it.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
even know what I've got on there, but I do have stuff.
I'm quite certain somebody can access it. It's just not necessarily me.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know.
it's it's yeah,
It's
being
always
able to
something
handle
though.
all the amount of work is I mean that's my biggest issue at this point in time with what I got going on with all the rail travel that people are doing because it's I mean they're not slowing down. I mean
Good.
it's a wonderful problem to have. I just wish I was spending more of my time working on talking to people and closing deals than I was processing requests and information. So that's why I'm trying to get these automated systems set up.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could send it over and it would populate right into some
Well,
form, and
yeah,
then you
and
could.
that's kind of what I'm working on setting up, but some of it's, you know, parts of it is just that Avoya, my host agency stuff, it's all behind it's all secured and they don't want me using, you know, other systems with their client data, which I get that. They
Right.
don't have a problem with me using some of this stuff, but I got to keep the bulk of my information within Avoya. So that's always a tricky aspect of it. But at the end of the day, if they want people to get these requests processed and get these quotes processed and book deals, I got to have a system that's going to be able to handle the volume. Yeah, I mean,
Right. Yeah, if you're going to do the automation and do all that,
I,
you
I
got to
can't
get it
handle I
roll
can't
through
handle the
too.
volume that they would like for me to handle without some additional uh, automation that they don't provide. So it's like you're gonna have to you have to work with me in some level.
Some of the guys, this system that I'm working with now, like they use VAs for that data input. They use VAs to take those leads and put them into the system where they get into the
Yeah,
CRM, and then they also have them contact people. I think for initial
the way I'm
contacts,
well, the
and
way I'm setting mine up is that I don't like because I get all of the information into the Avoya system, right? So I don't really have to re-enter it. But at the end of the day, when I get a hold of somebody, that's the point in time when I need to have you know be able to transfer that data into a digestible format for Amtrak. So I don't have to do the data entry until I'm talking to a person. So I can basically just, as I'm talking to them, enter the necessary information, take my notes. And then after I do that, and just do it once, because I'm going to do it either on paper or I'm going to do it into this form that I've created on Google. Either way, it doesn't matter. I got to do it while I'm on the phone with somebody. So once I'm on the phone with them, I can just do it into that form. I'd still be doing the same thing I always do. I'm only doing it once. And then once it's entered into that form, it'll kick over to the rest of the system. And the idea is that I can have other people from my company. enter that information into that form, talk to people, and get that information from them, enter it into that form. I don't have to always be the one to do it as I expand my workforce.
Yeah. 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 You make them replicable where they can
Yep.
replicate it. Um, then you could teach someone to do that. If you have an actual system in place, and you can teach someone how to do that system, then anybody can
And
do
that's
it.
pretty much the goal for what I'm working on because
You could have your wife do it on her days
she
off. Tell her,
she's studying for
come at
CPA.
lunch
She has
hour.
no days off.
Tell her this would be a good break from studying from that would be to enter some
Yeah,
of this
I'm
data.
pretty. My my wife is a senior level executive. I'm pretty sure she thinks all of that is beneath her at this point.
Of course, we'll tell her, look, see, this would be really good for you, like to relax your
She
brain,
likes to see that I'm
do all that.
grinding though. So you know, she's like, look at him grind. He's going.
My wife, see, like I mean, obviously I work from home, and she doesn't, but she's off on Wednesdays. So she comes home on Wednesdays, and like she takes in her mind because she's always worked in the office. Even during COVID, she never worked from home. She works for an animal hospital. So um, so she gets home and she like sometimes I have to remind her, hey, I'm working. Like I know you think I'm just jacking off over here, but I am actually working. So like leave me alone. Like she'll be like, what are you doing? Like I'm fucking working. I'm trying to do some
I
shit.
mean, me and the wife, we both work from home, so we don't generally
Oh
have that
yeah.
problem. But at the end of the day, she works on the main floor at the other end of the house, and I work at the basement on the opposite end of the house from her. It's the only way this works.
It's a pretty
Yeah,
good
no, we
idea.
cannot work in the same office together. That would be. We did that once, not at home, but work together, and that was almost catastrophic. We vowed that we would never work together again. So
Well, I've been trying to get my wife to like quit her job and then like process my files and stuff. And I think her response was something along the lines of, I don't have any desire to do your shit all day and then listen to your shit at night or something, something like
yeah,
along those lines.
at the end of the day, we all need a little bit of space.
Yeah. That was just her way of saying that.
I get enough of you in your off hours.
Right. I don't want to sit there with you all day. So
I feel that vibe.
I
I
gave up
feel
on
that
that.
vibe, man.
I told her, I was like, well, I'll bring another girl in here. How about that?
Careful what you wish for.
We, no, I would not. The last thing I need in my life is another woman. We got plenty of that going on over here.
All of mine, but the wife has moved out of the house. I think it's just me and the boy left. The boy's here, and me and the wife. So I don't have to deal with the women as much anymore. So other than the wife, so that's kind of nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to get some stuff going. I got a couple more loans
Good deal.
closing and
I've got to. I got
business
to.
is
I
kind
got
of
to climb up
steady.
Amtrak's ass after I get off of here. Figure out where the hell all my damn quotes are. Like what
Right.
the? So that's what's on the docket for me for the rest of the afternoon. Find my quotes. But
Where do they, so you get them directly from
yeah,
Amtrak?
I send off an email and like, hey, this is the quotes I need, and then bing, 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 one at a time. They start popping up in my email, but I haven't seen any in 2 days, so we're gonna have to get that shit.
They're like, oh, we
I call
forgot.
I
We had the
well,
wrong email.
I've got two people in particular over there that have always done a really good job for me. So I email them the bulk of my quotes, and it usually works pretty good for like one or two batches. And then by like batch three or four, all of a sudden it's like, they can't do it. They're going out of town. They're going to send it to these other
Oh, God.
and then
Yeah.
I never hear back on some of these. It's like, God, damn.
Yes. I get so irritated with that. That's what goes back to what we were talking about before about people doing
Yeah,
their job because that week after, uh, whatever, right before for July, I was like, I called this my rep, and I was like, hey, I need this. She didn't call me back on Thursday. She didn't call me back on Friday. And then Monday around 10 o'clock, she calls me up and she's like, oh, sorry. Juneteenth was last week. And then, so Friday was really busy. And I go, you couldn't even email me back. Like, you couldn't just say, I'm too busy to deal with your
Juneteenth is
shit.
a banker's
Like,
holiday. There's no other business that
Juneteenth,
should be
right.
off work.
Everybody, it was a federal holiday with the banks, and only the ones that were banks were closed, and everybody else was still going. I go, because I go, well, that's funny because everybody else was still out here
Right.
working. And so, but that was, I go, that's really your excuse. Like, that's lame as shit. So,
Juneteenth is my son's birthday, so it's not Juneteenth. It's my son's birthday.
I guess somebody else who's on birthday was on that day too. But I was like, really? Like, that's what you're going, that's how you're going to go?
We all find
Juneteenth, come on.
excuses when we want one.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. There's a lot of them. But I was like, yeah, you lost me. And then she said something about doing another deal. And I tell her, like, hey, kind of blew me off. And that's how you lose my love real quick. You blow me off. Like, I'm all in. I'm a very loyal
Right.
person. I'm a very loyal person. I'm loyal to those who are loyal to me. But it's not blind loyalty. And so, like, if uh, you violate that, then I will kick you to the curb. I don't have a problem with
I
that.
got it. Yeah. No, I got to. I have a short leash on that sort of stuff. I can't. I ain't got time to deal with it. Either be a responsible human being, or I need to move on and associate with other people.
I'd rather just call me up and go, hey, I
That's
fucked up.
being
I
a
forgot to call you.
responsible human being, though.
Right.
I'm just,
Right.
I'm not saying people can't have mistakes or have a bad day
Yeah.
or, you know, not get something done. Shit happens, man. But be responsible. Be an adult. You know, like I like I said, I ain't got time for
Yeah. And then she asked me for more business in the same breath,
it.
and it was just like,
Oh,
uh, nah, good luck with
right.
that. I just don't get it. People are just, it's just a rash, man. I was like, I told my wife, like, maybe do I expect too much of people?
I,
I think maybe I
well,
do.
I don't know. I mean, I don't work with you to know whether or not you expect to, and I don't know your industry well enough to know whether or not you expect
Right.
too much from people. I do think that there's a definite change um, amongst the population as the younger population is coming up. That
Yeah.
it's not that they won't work hard, right? But I don't know that they're willing to
Their
prioritize.
their
Yeah, I don't know that
priorities,
they
like,
prioritize their life around the hard work. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like
no.
they'll go. People will go in like they can put in their hard day's work, but like I saw an article the other day. It was like Gen Z is starting there's this trend that Gen Z workers are just they'll work for 8 or 9 months, 10 months, 12 months, 15 months, whatever it is, and then they'll just decide to take a sabbatical. And when I mean sabbatical, like they basically quit their job for a month and a half, 2 months, and just go do
Yeah.
what the f ever they want to do.
We had one that was one of the companies I worked at before. We had a girl that was always talking about work life. This, I got to keep my
Yeah.
work life balance. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know I don't even know what that is. So, um, so one day, like, she sang in a uh, church choir, right? And she was a very I'm not sure the word, but let's say she was very progressive personality and not very. She lived a very hedonistic lifestyle. Let's
Alrighty.
say that story, and she wasn't afraid to share the stories.
Fun.
Some of the stories made me go like, "Holy shit!" Like, if you shocked me.
I didn't know that was possible.
So
You can physically do that?
yeah, I will not. Yeah, yeah. So she realized I'm going to work life balance or whatever, but she sang in a choir for the church,
Wow.
and I was like, "What?
Do they know
what?
about this?
And I was like, and then she, so then she told me later, like, well, they pay me. Like they pay me $80 to come there and
Oh yeah,
sing
they yeah.
like for
My
a
wife plays in a
service.
church orchestra, and when they don't have
I go,
yeah,
what?
my wife plays in a church orchestra, and when they don't have enough people for a certain section of the orchestra, they will bring in paid talent to play in the orchestra.
I
Oh
didn't know
yeah.
that was a thing. I was like, wait. And so then so one day she's like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go sing for Jesus. I go, well, you're singing for money, FYI. You're not singing for Jesus. You're singing for money. But I said, she goes, and I was like, wait a minute. And she was doing whatever. And she like took PTO from work. She's leaving. I'm gonna go sing. I gotta keep my work life balance. Blah blah blah. And she's like, I'm gonna go sing. They called me and want me to sing. I go. She's like, well, they pay me. I go, well, we're paying you. Like we're paying you to do these files. Like we got people trying to buy houses and doing stuff. Like it was just
Well,
baffling.
but if
Like
you really think about it, she took PTO, right? Okay, so
she took
she got
PTO.
paid
So she
double.
got paid and
Yeah.
she got paid
I mean,
again. Right.
it's not a dumb move. It's really not.
No,
I mean, she's entitled to
it's
that
just
PTO. If
like,
you don't take your PTO, you basically gave your company money.
oh, and then she found out the company was paying, uh, our company paid people $75 to get a COVID shot.
Yeah,
So you do it
my
on the clock and then you go get the COVID shot and they paid you
my
75
health
bucks
is worth more than
additional.
that.
She got all of them. Every time they come out of the new one, she's like, I'm going. They pay me $75 to go get this. And I
Like,
was like,
would you
you're an
like
idiot.
take $75 every time they told you to go take a shot of heroin?
Like,
Like, no, I wouldn't
like
be.
heroin's
Well, that
better
might
for
be
you
true.
than the COVID shot. But so the funny thing with her was she'd come in one day and bitching about, she'd come in one day with the Biden
Oh yeah,
Harris
yeah.
hoodie on. So I was like, oh, good. Okay. So, but then she come in like a little while later and one day and she was trying to get him to let her work from home. And so she said, the gas prices are too high. And I said, hey, you don't get to wear a Biden Harris hoodie in here and bitch about the gas prices. You voted for that shit. It's what you wanted. So sit your ass down
I
and work on my
I
files.
posted a picture. You might have seen it. It said that according to Bureau, and you know, since we're almost at the end of the hour, we'll kind of wrap up with this. But that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, I think that's who it was, said that $100,000 in 2020 to get all of the things you could buy with $100,000 in 2020, it would cost you over $124,000 in 2025.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. I'm like, that's basically 25% inflation in less than 5 years. That's insane.
Right.
That is insane. That's 5% a year.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
it's more than
ridiculous.
5% a year because that only went from January
It's
2020 to April of 2025.
it's a tax. It's a silent tax.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like, when when they talk about raising taxes, they're never or lowering taxes. They're never talking about taxes. If you want to know how much they're taxing you, just look at how much they spend. That's how much you're being taxed. Because whether they get
Yeah.
it from you through you remitting, money to them, or your money is just worth less money, they're going to get theirs.
They get theirs. Right.
So, yeah, every time. It never fails. Anyway, well, there's our life lessons for the day. That was a good conversation talking about people working for you and how to handle those things. Good conversation.
Yeah, I don't know really how to handle it except for I fired all
Well,
mine. So
sometimes that's how you handle it.
I'm a firm believer in, um, hire slowly and fire quickly, because I have seen so many cases where you get someone in a situation, someone in an organization, and they become a cancer if you don't nip that in the
Oh,
bud.
I've had it.
So
Believe me.
Yes. So I mean, I'm a big believer in um, get rid of it, stop it. I don't care who they are. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care how much they're producing, whatever. I mean, I'm a believer in addressing the situation first and trying to take care of it. But if the things proceeds, then it's time to
Well,
I'll fire
it
you.
kind of
Boom.
reminds
I fired
kind of
so many
reminds
people.
me of I used to listen to a lot more sports talk radio than I do today, but Soren Petro on 810 used to always say, because I used to work with him when he was at 980, and he used to always say, it's like, if you have started thinking about firing your manager, you need to go ahead and fire your manager.
Right.
If
Right.
it's already crept into your head that that might be the the solution, then just go ahead and do it because you've already lost faith and you're not going to build it back. So just pull the band-aid off and move on to the next thing. All
Correct.
right, Mike Foot with Summit
All right, bro.
Lending.
Mike Foot of Summit Lending. I can do bank statement loans,
We talked about that.
self-employed people.
Self-employed.
Yeah.
And he fired all of the people who were causing him problems last week. So no more problems.
I actually went back to the people that I had before. I didn't care for that group just because of their communication was not up to
Yeah.
par. And so that's what led me to, but they were fast and they knew what they were doing. Um, so when I hired my loan partner, she's basically a liaison between me and them. So now I'm like, I don't give a shit. Talk to her. Like I'll just talk to her, and she'll deal with them.
And she knows how to communicate with you in the way you like.
She knows how to communicate with them.
So
Right.
excellent,
Correct.
excellent, excellent. I'm Eric Tiemann, Living Life and Style Travel, specializing in Amtrak vacations. I can also do cruises and everything else. And whatever you want to do, I can get you there. You got a friend of mine going to Amsterdam and taking the Rhine River.
On a
No,
train.
she's flying to Amsterdam. Then she's getting.
I'm gonna take the train to Hawaii.
I
To
do
that
not
one.
have a train to Hawaii, although I can get you to Alaska though. So there's that. The only one I can't get you to is Hawaii. I mean, I could get you there on a cruise ship, but not on a train. Sorry, that's how it goes.
Dang it.
But yeah, if you're in need of any vacation ideas or help or quotes or want to know what you can do, give me a call 816-744-1405 and livinlifeandstyle.com on the web. Mike, it's been a pleasure. I will see you next week. I hope you had a great fourth. We didn't really talk about it, but I hope you had a great fourth. And
Pretty chill.
that's the best kind, man. So take it easy. Have a great day. We'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk between now and next week, but we will definitely talk next week, man. Have a good one.
All right.
Later.
Later.